Sunshine's Corner, being brought to you by Quint and Richie Studer.
And a beautiful Tuesday morning it is. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Your Sunshine, we've stepped into another great day of nothing but information and knowledge and power, because I believe we've got so much that we need to be aware of. And of course, I want to invite you, as I do every single day, to be a part of this show. Collectively, I'll tell you every day, we put all of our resources together, there is nothing that we can't do. You see, knowledge is power. And once you receive that knowledge and you apply it, see what I mean? There's nothing that we can't do. I invite you as well to be a part of the show, 850-432-7768. So if there are questions or if there's answers that you're looking for, please don't hesitate. Call in, or you can text as well to find out. And today it is not going to be any different, because like I said to you yesterday, last week, and the week before, as we approach this important election season, we are in the midst of it, but that great big day that's coming up on November the 5th, we are about 32 days out from that. But the fact of it is, I want to give you everything that you need to know, so that when you cast your vote, there's no doubt on what you're voting for. And today it's not going to be any different, because I have a young lady here that I've been waiting to meet forever, Sara Latshaw.
Yes.
That's it. And I tell you, ACLU.
Indeed.
And thank you. Well, I got to say this. We did invite another guest, but unfortunately, they had to not able to take this opportunity so we can talk about these amendments openly. And but that's why. But you and I, we're going to cover everything else that needs to be covered today. And Sara, I want to say this. With this election that's coming up, there's so many things that's going to be on that ballot. It's going to be a huge one this year. And what I want to focus on today are those 6 amendments, so that we can talk about all of them, the importance of, so that we'll know what we're doing and what we're voting for. And if you could start off, tell everybody about what you do. I read your resume. You got a lot. Tell everybody about Sara.
Sure. So I, as you said, I work for the ACLU. I've been there about 12 years.
Right.
And I've, for a long time, I focused on Pensacola, Escambia County, Santa Rosa County. Over the years, my role has grown, and I focus on the state of Florida now.
Right.
And so primarily, I look at policies that ensure people are represented, ensure that folks are able to vote, that the criminal justice system isn't over-criminalizing people. And the reason that I'm sitting here with you today is because I want to ensure that women have access to reproductive health care.
You got that right. No doubt about it. Well, listen to this, Sara. I heard you say that you want to make sure that people can make sure that they have their right to vote. So you're talking about people that's possibly been incarcerated, and they are not sure if they've got everything in order to be able to vote.
Sure. There was an amendment in 2018. I'm sure you remember it. Yes. That restored eligibility to vote for people with felony convictions upon completing the terms of all their sentence. And the government has made that a little bit confusing in terms of how to determine whether or not you are now eligible. And so that's certainly an area where we want to make sure folks know whether or not they're eligible to register and vote.
Because, now there was a gentleman who phoned in several weeks ago, was talking about that very same thing. Let's touch that a little bit more. So what is it that they got to make sure? I know you said they got to make sure that all of the fees and everything else has got to be taken care of. But if by chance somebody who may think they have it, and then you find out at this date that you don't, what can be done? So
at this point, if you want to register to vote, if you have a former felony conviction, you're right. You have to make sure that you've completed all the terms of your sentence, so any incarceral terms, probation, parole, paid off fines and fees. Everything has to be tied up. And once you've done that, you are eligible to register to vote. That, with the exception, is if you have a sexual crime or a murder crime. For those crimes, you still have to go through the clemency process with the state. But otherwise, unless you have one of those 2 crimes, you are eligible upon completing all the terms of your sentence to register.
Absolutely.
And you should register and vote.
Because Monday is the deadline, which it's a register, right? Which is October the 7th.
October the 7th. The
That's
books
Monday.
are closing. Yes.
So please, let's make sure check this out. Listen closely today to make sure that you got everything taken care of. And now let's move on down. Let's go on down here to Amendment 4. What I want everybody to make sure, because I know you're ready to talk about it. So, women.
Yes.
Ladies, please. And if you've got questions, don't hesitate. I say this to you all the time. The only crazy question there is the one that's not asked. So what you do with Sara here, if you've got questions that you need to get a full understanding about, here's the opportunity. So now I'm going to turn this really over to you now, so you can talk about Amendment 4 and the important it is for ladies to be listening.
Thank you. Yes, decisions about women's health care are most importantly left to women in consultation with their doctors, because we know their doctors have taken an oath to act in their best interests. And so when we see politicians coming in and trying to make decisions for women, women's health care becomes at risk. Women's health becomes at risk. And I know you just mentioned this is a women's issue, but it also is an issue for our men who have daughters and sisters and mothers.
I love that.
And you know, I was speaking to someone the other day who said to me, oh, this doesn't affect me because I can't get pregnant. And I said, oh, you might want to think about that, because if one of your sisters or daughters or someone who you're with gets pregnant and needs help, this essential health care, they may not have access to it. The state has passed an extreme ban on abortion before most women even realize they're pregnant. And so,
really?
Yes.
Before?
It truly, the majority of women do not realize they're pregnant by the time the state's time period in which you can access abortion has lapsed. And it's a ban without meaningful exceptions for rape, for the health of the mother, for incest, and it also criminalizes doctors. So that means a doctor can be put in jail or prison just for treating the patient with the care they need.
If I got raped, end up pregnant.
Yeah.
So I cannot go and just get an abortion because I can't seek that help that I want because of the fact that it was something that was done to me, that was taken away from me, that I didn't voluntarily do. And this is something I want all women, not only just with babies like that, it's so many other things that we're talking about, Sara, that's important, that makes this so important. If you were sitting here talking to my daughter, how would you plead to her? She would go, well, Mom, I don't know. What would you say to my daughter?
She would say, I don't know. I'm not sure how I want to vote on this. You know, decisions about healthcare are so critically left to women in consultation with their doctor.
Right.
Politicians never are going to know what's best for you. And each situation is unique and different. You never know what someone is going through. And you can't walk in everyone's shoes. And so allowing this decision to be left to women and their doctors instead of politicians makes a world of difference. And that doesn't mean that you have to use it.
That's right.
It's going to be different for each person, but we want to make sure we have that freedom, that choice, that right.
That's right. Now, you know, even like, you know, with the patient and the doctor confidentiality, right? So why is it that even with the politicians who are trying to sit back so they can tell us what to do, I mean, what is it that if I go to my doctor today and I said, look, you know, what the point that I think I'm trying to make is, you know, a doctor can't go out and say, okay, this is what's wrong with Sara, boom, 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 boom. Okay, now why are they making it so difficult even with the fact of this? What's the difference that I'm trying to find out with this than any other part of the patient-doctor confidentiality?
Yeah.
So why would they think that's so different? Is it just to be in control?
I believe it really is about control. And I think we've seen throughout history government try to control people's bodies. I think women's bodies, of course, we've seen that in communities of color in a much more extensive and harmful way. And so, yes, government wants to have their hands in places where it just shouldn't be. And you're right, you don't need a right to get an appendectomy.
No.
You don't need a right to get your tonsils out. If you have a medical reason to get this health care, it should be accessible to you.
That's what's so hard for me to comprehend. That if I can do this, man, I can go to a doctor. I love watching Law and Order. You know, when they go in, they want to get, no, I can't do that because that's patient confidentiality. Yeah. But the fact of it is, so you're telling me if something is a death rate to my body, that I can't do it because, and there's no real reason behind that. How do you feel about that? I mean, I think that is absolutely outrageous that they would go that route. But you know, there's some people, why they will fall in with that? What do you think? That's just a personal opinion. Some women who are saying, okay, maybe I I'm going to follow with this. Why do you think they're doing that?
You know, it's such a deeply held personal belief for some people, and I think it's you can hold that belief and at the same time hold the belief that you don't get to make that decision for the people around you. And and I think that's really what we're seeing is that more and more people. My mother-in-law is Catholic, and she's very opposed to abortion.
Of course.
Personally, but she also doesn't think that she should be able to make that decision for me or for anyone else. And I think we're seeing more and more stories like, I don't know if you saw the story of Anya Cook.
No, I didn't.
She was a woman in South Florida, and she was 14 months pregnant with a baby she very much wanted and was excited about, and her water broke. And it was, you can't, that's too early to do any meaningful intervention. And so because she wasn't on death's door, the hospital sent her home and said, you're going to have to wait for your body to work this out. And she went home, she continued to live her life, and she was at the salon, and she started to bleed, and she lost nearly half the blood in her body. She had to be rushed to the hospital, and it's because politicians are making the rules in cases where they really don't have the skills, the credentials, the understanding of what we really need in those situations.
You said a powerful thing just then. They do not understand what it is that a woman is dealing with anyway with her body. And I say this now, if this young lady, when she stood there, water broke, you cannot go and have anything done that would save me. So I've got to go through this. And then look, she gets the hemorrhaging, and then, so make me understand the logic in that. And that people will want to do that when it's my body. Now, I'm going to say this. I want to say this to everybody. I want to be very transparent. Now, I don't believe in abortions, but I don't believe in you telling me what to do with my body either. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I do not believe in that. But if there was something that happened to me that I know that there was an opportunity that I needed to have that, then please don't take that away from me, because that could be a life-changing, saving procedure for me.
Yeah.
And it's all about that. And Sarah, how is it that you, oh God, with the position that you hold, I can see, oh my God, I get you run into things like this at all times to fight this battle, to try to make a difference. How is it that you sit there and comprehend, to grasp, and to continue to do this every single day?
Yeah, it is. The stories that we hear almost every day are so trying and difficult. And again, it's like you can't know what someone is going through so quietly in their family and with the loved ones around them and with their faith. And it is really trying. But I think it also reminds me why it is so important that we have the conversations we're having, that we talk about it, that we, together decide that there are things in which we should hold the power and the government shouldn't hold that power. And of course that goes back to the importance of voting and turning out and taking that power back.
I so certainly agree. I mean, I love that. I mean, that power. Don't allow anybody to take that from you when it comes to things, my body. My body. I'm not going to tell you what to do with yours. You know what I mean? So ladies and gentlemen, please, let us get the clear understanding, the knowledge that we need in everything before we go in there and scratch something that we don't know. And you understand what I'm saying? So that we can do that. And let's see, somebody's on the phone right now. Good morning.
Good morning. I have a question for Sara. I had seen some ads on television from people who oppose Amendment 4 saying that doctors do have a voice. They can intervene if it involves the health of the mother. Last week, my daughter ended up bleeding out because they would not give her an abortion.
Oh, my Lord.
How can those two situations exist?
First of all, thank you for calling and sharing that. That is terrible. And unfortunately, it is not an uncommon story. And it's a story with the current restrictions that we have. We're going to continue to hear more of that. There are written into the law some exceptions that we have not seen work practically in real life. So I think those exceptions are really just a political tool that they're using in advertisements to say, oh, doctors can do what doctors need to do, but in practice, they are bound by the state laws and the agencies that govern them, that control their practice, and in practice, they are unable to use those exceptions to save women's lives.
Wow.
And I cannot imagine having to hear those commercials that they are running right now where they say to people, oh, doctors can do what they need to do, when time and time again, they cannot, and they are unable to, and that is because the state agencies that bind their hands.
Oh, wow.
And the laws that bind their hands, which is why Amendment 4 means so much.
Absolutely. And sir, I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, it did. And her situation was such that she ended up going to the ER because she started bleeding, hemorrhaging at home, and she passed out while checking in. They stabilized her and sent her home.
Really?
Yeah.
It requires 2 doctors to sign off that you are basically on the brink of dying before they will help you. And that is not what that's not why a doctor becomes a doctor. Preventative care is so important to the profession itself, and you should not be sent home when you are going through such a difficult and treatable issue.
Okay, so let me understand what you just said, that it takes 2 doctors to sign off if you're going to have to go home.
In order to access abortion care, when the patient's life is at risk, it requires 2 physicians. And that might seem like, oh, there's physicians everywhere. But in fact, a lot of times that isn't even available. You have to find a second physician to come in the middle of the night.
Absolutely.
And they both have to agree that the patient is about to die.
I understand.
And if they can't agree on that, then the patient is sent away.
Oh, my Lord.
And so even if they might be, like the caller was saying, on the verge of encountering a serious medical emergency, there's nothing they can do until it is so terrible that you are at risk of losing the patient.
I'm so sorry. Sir, I hope that your daughter is fine.
Yeah, she is. She ended up having 3 trips to the ER, and the last time they sent her home was last Wednesday. She lives in Tallahassee, and she was home in bed convalescing when the hurricane hit. It was a horrible situation, and it's stunning that these barbaric laws are in place in the state of Florida. And even in the state of Texas, the maternal mortality rate has gone up 56% since their abortion laws were passed 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So thank you very much for your time. Have a good day. Bye.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye. And please, ladies and gentlemen, just as the call, that was,
I know.
Oh my God. Do you see the importance that we're trying to make, to share with you today? The importance. Please, wow, don't go anywhere. We're going to come back with more information for you. I encourage you, if you would like to talk, please, just as the gentleman did. He did not have to state his name. And all you've got to do, call to ask the questions, and we can get them answered for you. And again, let's say thank you to our very fine sponsors that's going to be sponsoring our Making Strides Walk that's coming up on October 26th, and they are on the screen. That is Sonny's Barbecue, Ron Helms. Hey, Ron, thank you so very much. And Starworth Insurance Services. We appreciate you so much partnering with us right here, Sunshine's Corner on Blab TV.
Good day, Pensacola. Welcome to a new segment on health and wellness sponsored by Baptist Healthcare in partnership with Sunshine's Corner. Every first Wednesday of the month during Sunshine's telecast, we're going to be bringing you information about health and wellness and ways to make sure we're improving the quality of your health care here in Pensacola. After all, we want to ensure that you're going to the right place at the right time and for the right reason, and that you don't feel alone. Can't wait to see you.
Many who consider facial plastic surgery are concerned their results will look unnatural. But with over 20 years of serving the Pensacola community, his thousands of satisfied patients have made Dr. Derek Jones a trusted reconstructive and facial plastic surgeon known for industry-leading results that look natural. Call 850-484-FACE to schedule a consultation at one of our locations in Pensacola and Gulf Breeze.
I'm Dr. Derek Jones. Trust your face to a facial plastic surgeon.
I vote because my mother voted. She was 40 years old, and I was 20 when she first voted. She said, Mamie Lee, take me to the registration office or wherever I need to go so that I can register to vote. So I vote for that reason, and I want everybody else to vote. Don't just talk, you gotta walk it like you talk it, and when you walk it, you are voting. So vote. I'm Mamie Webb Hickson, Director of the Writing Lab at the University of West Florida. Just vote.
It's the hardest conversation I have with patients, telling them that their baby won't make it. And now, because of Florida's extreme abortion ban, I also have to tell them I can't help. The ban forces women to wait until the brink of death to get care and could send doctors like me to prison just for treating my patients. That's terrifying. And it's why I'm voting yes on 4, to end the ban so government can't stop women from getting life-saving care.
And welcome back to this conversation today that is absolutely necessary, that we invite you to sit still, be a part, tell somebody if you want to know the realness of Amendment 4, then you need to be right where you are, tuned into Sunshine's Corner with Sara today, because she's telling, I'm finding out things that I had not even thought about. And we were talking about with the gentleman who called. And let me reiterate this too. If you've got a question, if you've got something you would like to talk about along with us, please don't hesitate to call 850-432-7768. Well, he was talking about the ads, how they're running on TV saying that it's okay when really it's not okay. So that's a lie to fool you, to say, okay, what you've been told is not true until you vote. And then when you run into a situation like that, then you find out that what we were saying was true all along. Something you said also, Sara, in regards to a person who's had a miscarriage. They can't go right there and go get a DNC. They got to wait.
Yeah, we're seeing that. We're seeing that. I mean, this is something so many doctors who are treating pregnant women, a woman may have a miscarriage or a baby that's no longer viable.
Right.
This is not going to result in a pregnancy, and yet women are being forced to carry it because either the fetus is still technically alive or it has some electromagnetic activity. And so if the mother is healthy and the baby is not, they are still forced to carry it until the pregnancy terminates naturally, which sometimes you can be very far along and be forced to carry a baby that is not going to make it or is no longer viable.
And you still got to carry it.
Yes. Unless you're about to die. And so then you're waiting for the risks to almost kill you so that you can access medical care.
But that's got to be mentally.
I can't imagine.
I cannot imagine that mentally, that now a doctor's going to tell me this because I'm not the doctor, so I don't understand this. So you're telling me, doctor, so I cannot do anything, but you can tell me about all these bad things that I've got to do, but you can't do any good thing to help me. Make that make sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable. The things that you're finding out. So this is why it's so important. You know, sometimes we will hear these ads that's airing heavily now, and we think that's all truth. But ladies and gentlemen, let me say this: talk to somebody who's really working doing the work every day. And it's like I say it like this: it's got to be something to it. Otherwise, they wouldn't be out trying to stop it. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's got to be something to it. Look at the big picture, not just the one that's right up in front of you. Look at the entire picture. Wouldn't you think it's got to be something if they're trying their best to fight it so that I can have control over you and not allow you to be able to make decisions to keep your body healthy?
Oh, that exactly. It takes 60% to pass a constitutional amendment in Florida. So that means it requires more than half, 60% of people to turn up and say, hey, we want this power. And it's confounding to me that politicians would fight back against this is the will of Floridians. We know 67% of Floridians do not think this should be in the hands of politicians.
Absolutely.
And yet they're the ones that are making the commercials that are these deceptive commercials.
They are the ones. The truth.
Right. They are and it's odd to me because as a politician, you should want to represent the people of Florida and what they want for themselves.
Absolutely.
And so yeah, there is something in it, and I think it really is about power.
Unbelievable. I mean, maybe that caller needs to call back, Jen. Okay, here they are. We got another call.
Okay.
And unbelievable. Good morning.
Sonshine, this morning y'all having some serious conversation. It is heart-wrenching to hear the stories and think about the things that women have to go through. And I'm just thinking about like young women, like teenagers, 18, 19-year-olds, 20, 21-year-olds, that may have to suffer the detriment that caller had to go through for his daughter and what she had to go through. If somebody that age have to experience that type of traumatic trauma at a young age and have no idea if they're going to get some help at the brink of dying because of just these crazy regulations that are out there, laws that's out there, it's just devastating here. And I just pray that everybody get a chance to really get the right information.
Absolutely.
So they can really make some sound decisions, not just for them, but for everybody.
Absolutely.
It's heartbreaking. It's so heartbreaking this morning.
We're trying to get it out there.
Being able to come on there and relay this information here.
Right. Well, thank you, Eric, and we appreciate that because we are very much so trying to get the information out. Like I said, knowledge is power.
Yeah.
Knowledge is power.
Thank you so much.
All right. Have a great day.
Well,
you too.
It's such a good, bringing up youth is such an important point. Because this is an issue that affects women and girls.
That's right.
Unfortunately. I don't know if you saw the story out of Ohio. A 10-year-old girl was raped, and she had to.
Oh, the chills went through me then. Yes.
And she had to travel out of state to get the care, and that's happening in Florida. We're hearing instances of that happening, and I mean we're talking about a child, and already the trauma that they've got. Yes, a 10-year-old, the trauma they've gone through.
They don't understand what has happened already.
And then to have, for every other medical care, you can go to your local provider, you can get the care you need, and to have to be forced to travel out of state, your family takes off work, you're having to stay in a hotel, absolutely away from your support systems. It's just absurd.
It is. It is. And this is the reason why we're doing this is to show you the full picture, not just fake ads that, because words, like I said, words have power. And if you plant those words that you see over and over that's played in the media on TV, then you're going to think that's truth.
Yeah.
Until you understand, I would hope that you would not have to go through that to find out that it wasn't all alone. And not only with that, when we just talk about health care, period. Why would you want, if somebody could tell me, why would you want control over my body? If I could understand why you would want control over my body, maybe I'd feel better. Maybe I would understand it more. But Sarah, why do you want control over this? And so many women, but you want control over it. I do not understand the thought process with that. And it's talking about my livelihood. How is it? Would you want your daughter to go through something like that? Let's say if these politicians, right? If you're a child, your wife, your mother, your sister, come to an incident, let's say, God forbid, something happened like the 10-year-old, what would you do? How would they feel if it happened right there at their front door? Because it's possible it could. And that's the thing what I'm talking about. We've got to try our best to get everybody to understand when coming up on, if you're going to do early voting or whenever, when you vote, you got to know how to vote. I did this to bring this up to show that little picture. Got the little square?
Yes.
You see the little square right there? Can you see it? There it is. You see which one it says? You see that? That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
Please. Think about this, because this is all about our bodies, our livelihood, our lives. And it's so you just can't think about it. I was hoping that we could have, the reason why I had invited someone else, I wanted to have both sides. I wanted to hear the topic of conversation, but like I said, for some ungodly reason, they could not come today. But we're going to do what we do and tell it like it is, the truth, to get it out. Not that anybody's going to lie. We're just going to point out the facts. And we are doing that. And obviously, there are more people out there that's dealing with this than we are really realizing, because even with the persons that are calling, both of them, from judging from the phone, they were not here in the area. Really?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, outside of Pensacola.
Yeah, the stories are, I hear a continuous flow of stories from within the state and from, you know, I mean, obviously there are stories on the national stage, but here in Florida, in Pensacola, I hear stories so regularly that it's confounding and scary. And I think right now this is the hope. The way to end the extreme ban is to vote yes on 4. And if I could, I would love to tell folks so they're aware.
Please.
On the ballot, there's our language, which was put on the ballot by a group of nonprofits and citizens that worked very, very hard to get on the ballot. Also on the ballot, under the language that we provided, will be what's called a financial impact statement. It was added to our amendment by the state. It's very long. It's twice the length of our amendment, and it will also be on your ballot. And so I hope viewers and folks that are tracking this and care about voting will know that the first 2 sentences are what the amendment does. The next sentences that follow were added by the state. I think they're also dishonest and misrepresentations of what the amendment does, but the state gets to add language.
Really?
And so I think they're trying again to mislead and confuse voters so that it won't pass, because that 60% is really tough to reach, which is why it's so important that folks turn out.
Really? Okay, let's go back to this. A fetus is viable at 15 weeks, right?
Well, the thing about viability that's so important is that viability is determined by a doctor, and it's an individual determination, and that is why it's such a critical part of the amendment. There may be a fetus that's further along that we find out is not viable. Maybe it doesn't have kidneys. That could be, or you could find out that your fetus has a genetic anomaly that is going to mean that it will not live. It is no longer viable, and so that allows the doctor to be able to be.
What did you call that? A genetic
anomaly?
Anomaly?
Yeah, where
that got me a new word. I know that the word now. Okay.
Where you may have a fetus that was progressing normally, and then you may get your tests at your 20-week scan and find out, this unfortunately is not going to be a viable pregnancy. And so it allows the doctor to make that determination using all the scientific methods they have at their hands. And so it's individualized for each pregnancy, and that's why the term viability is so important.
Oh, okay. So let's say if a doctor, let's come back to that. I got to go to break because then I got to ask this question. Let me say again, everybody, please, 850-432-7768. If you've got questions, something you would like to get clarity on, today is the day. Make sure you call and talk to Sara. We're going to come back with even more. But again, I want to say thank you for all that who have partnered with us for the Making Strides Walk that's coming up for breast cancer. That's going to be on October 26th. Thank you to Sunday's Barbecue. And of course, our good friends there at Starworth Insurance Company and Ron Helms. Thank you, Ron, for being a part right here, Sunshine's Corner on Blab TV.
You finally found the perfect car in Racing Blue. You even got them to throw in the LED fog lights for free. Auto Owners insures your car because some people never learn to parallel park. That's simple human sense.
Ask the Messick Insurance Agency in Pensacola if auto owners make sense for you.
Keep going. More. No, stop!
I am going to vote. I vote because I want my voice heard. For many years, people like me were silenced. Women were silenced. So I vote to make sure that my voice will be heard. I'm Dr. Yvonne Capehart, and I encourage you to just vote.
Florida Constitutional Amendment 4 will save women's lives and protect their reproductive freedoms. It ensures doctors can provide life-saving emergency care to women. 65% of Floridians support abortion rights, and Amendment 4 was put on the ballot following a citizen-led initiative. Despite this, politicians in Tallahassee approved a draconian 6-week abortion ban, which denies women reproductive freedom. Stand up for women's reproductive rights. Stand up for democracy. Vote yes on Amendment 4 this November.
Well, I think it's all about local, and I'm a big believer in local. So I think anytime you can carry a message out locally, it's important. And I think it's anytime the person that delivers the service can also deliver the message, which is unusual. You have the people that actually deliver the project doing the talking, and I think that's a huge difference, and really makes a huge value difference for the consumer. So I'm really just so grateful that we have this local opportunity with Blab TV. My name is Quince Dieter, and I am Blab TV.
And welcome back to Sunshine's Corner on this edition of Amendment 4, so that we can make sure that you're educated on what you need to know, how you need to vote, why you should vote this way. And I'll say that boldly, why we should be voting for Amendment 4. And of course, Sarah, we were talking about the fact that some things about these paragraphs and the 200 words and the 50 words and the verses there. Talk about that with the language that's on these ballots that people are not going to understand because there's that much.
Yes, the ballot is very long. I mean, you know, like you were saying, it's so important that you do from beginning to end.
Yes.
But there is a lot in there. And a citizen-led initiative gets a financial impact statement that's added by the state. But for ours, they've added a very long and very confusing and misleading statement, very frustratingly.
Really?
But it's about that power and wanting to
control,
to hold. Yeah.
And see, now I gotta say it. She just said something about wanting that power. See, that's what I think about this election anyway. Because one person just want to take the power. They want to be in control. They want to be a dictator. And something else you said when we were off camera. The first lines are the ones that they should know what the truth is about Amendment 4, right?
Can I read it?
Please.
Is that okay?
Yes.
All right. So this is the language that our coalition of just nonprofits, many around the state of Florida, in consultation with attorneys who are incredibly wise, put together. It says, no law shall prohibit, penalize, delay, or restrict abortion before viability or when necessary to protect the patient's health, as determined by the patient's health care provider. This amendment does not change the legislature's constitutional authority to require notification to a parent or guardian before a minor has an abortion.
Right.
And that is what it is and does. It is so straightforward.
Right.
It is not deceptive. It is straightforward, and it tells you just what it does. And so if you see an ad or see something, you know, some of these ads that are so deceptive, all you have to do is read the language of the amendment and you'll know this is what it does. It protects access to abortion before viability and when the patient's health is at risk.
Absolutely. And we're not talking, I gotta say this as well, because I said earlier, just like you said, with your mother-in-law, I believe, your mother-in-law, does not believe in abortion, but the fact of it is she believes in the fact that what I gotta do for my health, that's a different story. Right. And I want people to understand, we're not talking about somebody just go get an abortion, go get an abortion, go get an abortion, go get an abortion because the abortion is there. No, we're not talking that. We're talking about safety. We're talking about maintaining good health. Even think about this child that's unborn. If a doctor tells you, I can imagine when you say, he can't go and do what he needs to do, I gotta wait, even though I'm already aware that this baby may not come to fruition. That would run me crazy.
Yeah, I would have to leave the state and find access to abortion, and I am in a privileged position to be able to go do that.
Right.
A lot of people cannot take off work, cannot afford, to fly to Chicago or fly to North Carolina to get that care.
Absolutely.
And you should be able to get health care in the community that you live.
Most certainly. Most certainly. And we also was talking about the fact that even with the doctors, I know I can imagine what they're thinking. Okay, I cannot do what I need to do to make sure that this patient is well taken care of. That's got to be mind-blowing as well. So when we talk about the voting that's coming up, ladies and gentlemen, please research. Find out for yourselves, and you're going to see the importance. Because just like the gentleman, he was talking about his daughter, that he had to go back and forth, and then she got stuck in the hurricane. Oh my God.
I know.
That had to be overwhelming for the family. And the fact that she couldn't get the help that she needed, and then started hemorrhaging. Men don't know anything about that. So, I mean, I made you laugh, but I'm just saying.
I know.
I mean, you don't understand that process of our bodies.
And those are so many of the decision makers that are making these decisions without, without regard.
Of a woman. Supposing I turned around and wanted to put up something about your body. How would you feel about that? Man, I could write up, oh boy, would I write up a bill. I mean, you know what I mean? Yeah. I'm saying that in a jokingly way, but I mean that from the heart. So we have to be able to look at a situation like that so that you can make the right decision that's going to be beneficial for your entire neighborhood, for your family, for your community. That nobody should have that much power that they can take control of my body, then I could possibly lose my life. That's not right. That's not right at all. And when it comes to that, Sara, with the calls and the things that you're finding every day, are you finding women, are they so frustrated they wish that, let's say if a person didn't have the monies or what it takes to get out of town? I mean, how can you comfort a person like that when you know that they need that help? How, with you in the position that you're in?
It is incredibly difficult. It's because for some people there isn't a comfort that you can give other than this is our chance. Amendment 4 is our chance. The folks that have come out to share their stories publicly, and we'll see more of those coming out in the coming weeks because people are coming to us with a willingness to come and sit down in front of a camera and share their story, because that's a very difficult and private issue, and it's, for some people, it's the worst day of their life or the worst days of their life. And their willingness to tell these stories because they know the torture that they have gone through because of this ban is because they want people to come out and vote for Amendment 4 so that we can change the law, so that we can undo the extreme ban.
Most certainly.
And right now, the comfort I think that they are finding is in the fight to pass Amendment 4.
Okay.
Because, Deborah Dobert, and she's another patient that is willing to share her story. She was pregnant with a baby that she and her husband Lee were excited and ready for, and they found out very well into the pregnancy that the baby could not survive outside of the womb.
Really?
And they did not have the ability to leave Florida to get the care they needed, and so she was forced for half of a pregnancy to carry a baby that
she knew.
She knew. And when the baby was born, they handed it to her and her husband, and it took a few gasps of air and died on her stomach. And she will tell you that the ban is torture, and she is willing to tell that terrible story and share her and her husband's darkest moment in order to educate folks about how impactful the current law is, and that there is a way to stop it. And
certainly.
Yeah.
And that is why I wanted to have a double conversation, because I wanted women to talk about this, because I think that it's so important. And I hate that it didn't happen the way that I planned, but doesn't mean that we won't try it later, because we still got weeks to go.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
And I think it's so interesting to sit down with someone with an opposing view and try to figure out where we have common ground. And maybe, I think when folks really understand how this impacts real people's lives, not just as a policy, but the true impact on people's lives, we see a lot of people changing the way they feel.
Absolutely. I think the conversation would do a lot for that, because of the fact that, because if I'm a woman, whether I'm Democrat or Republican, I'm still a woman.
Yes.
And I wanted to see and hear from the other side, what is it that they're saying that they're pushing so hard? How is it if you are a woman and having to say yes, no, how make me understand that. And it's so important that we get the message out. And ladies and gentlemen, what I'm trying to convey to us today is this. We're talking locally as well. Think about your body. Think about you. The things that you don't know what tomorrow holds. But think about a person that you may be, a family member, anybody. And the things that we're talking about today is so utterly important. Well, I want to reiterate this because I didn't know this either. You brought a light, you turned the light bulb on. If you look at the first lines, that's going to be on that ballot. All this other stuff, don't go that far. Just look at the first couple of lines. That's going to be the truth about the Amendment 4. And when it comes to the initiative of abortions, 10-year-old child couldn't get what she wanted. Oh my God, when I say 10, oh Jesus, 10 years old? Isn't that, that is so, I can't comprehend that. She just got here. And then you're raped and I can't get the help I need, so I got to try to go somewhere else. Everybody can't do that. But let's talk about the fact of how, if you do not understand, how they can get in touch with you, and you can even get a more personal conversation with them.
Sure. Probably the best way to learn about the amendment is there are 2 websites that I would recommend.
Okay.
There's FloridiansProtectingFreedom.com and ACLUFL.org also has a ton of really important information about reproductive rights in general, what the law is in Florida, the impacts of the law, and then ways that you can get involved.
Right.
We only have a month until the election. Well, like you said, how many days is it?
32, 33 days.
Oh
we are
gosh.
right there because it's on November the 5th. And
Yeah.
this is already, today is October 1st.
It's moving quickly.
It's really moving.
And we have a lot of conversations we need to have. So if folks want to get involved, there are links on there to sign up to volunteer, links on there to get more information. And I'm always happy to help if there's any way that I can get the word out. I'm always happy to discuss.
No doubt. So ladies and gentlemen, please don't let this opportunity pass. Let's get the word out. Let's do our part right here in Pensacola. Let's come together collectively. I tell you, we put those resources together. There's nothing we can't do. Again, let's say thank you because breast cancer is coming up on October the 26th. Well, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And if you would like to be a part of my team that's going to be walking on that day, please reach out to me. Call me here at the studio. You know how to inbox me on my Facebook page or on my IG. And let's say thank you to Sonny's Barbecue, who's already agreed to be with us, as well as Stallworth Insurance Services and Ron Helms. Thank you, Ron. He is District 4, I do believe. But thank you so very much. And listen, stay close. We've got more for you right here on Sonshine's Corner.
Florida Constitutional Amendment 4 will save women's lives and protect their reproductive freedoms. It ensures doctors can provide life-saving emergency care to women. 65% of Floridians support abortion rights, and Amendment 4 was put on the ballot following a citizen-led initiative. Despite this, politicians in Tallahassee approved a draconian 6-week abortion ban, which denies women reproductive freedom. Stand up for women's reproductive rights. Stand up for democracy. Vote yes on Amendment 4 this November.
Lloyd's Glass and Correct Calibration Services is a one-stop shop because you can come get your windshield replaced, and right behind that replacement at the same appointment, we will calibrate the cameras, and when you leave, everything's ready to go. There's no need to go to the dealership, or there's no need to come back for another appointment. We just take care of it at one time. We put the customer first, and we strive to do everything right the first time.
Lloyd's Glass and Correct Calibration Services, your one-stop shop with same-day service.
Gilmarine, your one-stop shop for all your boating needs. We offer a vast selection of parts, accessories, and electronics. Discover our range of used boats in every size, shape, and brand, all ready to get you on the water today. And we provide expert advice and top-notch customer service to ensure you have the best boating experience. We service all outboard, inboards, stern drives, jet drives, and personal watercraft. Our certified staff will get you back on the water. Visit Gilmarine at 3541 West Fairfield Drive, Pensacola.
My father told us he paid the cost to be the boss, which meant whatever he told you to do, you better do. So we were told you must vote. He would sit us down at a round table and go over the reasons why you needed to vote, why it was so important, that he fought for us to make sure that we could vote and that we were to fight for ourselves and for his grandchildren.
My name is Jill Lewis-Daggs. I am the state committee woman for Okaloosa County, and I'm here to tell you,
just vote.
And welcome back to Sunshine's Corner. I tell you, this is what I get so much joy out of doing, and that is keeping you informed with everything that's important for those that's in the community, myself inclusive. I go out of my way to make sure I have guests that can tell you the truth, to be transparent, to tell you what it really is that you need to know. And Sara, she's not holding anything back. And we got a text message that came in talking about definitions and all of that. Let's talk about that.
Yes. So one of the ads that they're running against us says that the amendment doesn't have any definitions and therefore the words could mean anything. And that's just not the case. The amendment is written using common words. These were words that were chosen very specifically because they have meaning in statute, because they have common meanings. One of the claims is that, and I even hate to repeat it, but I will, is that we use the term healthcare provider, and that could mean anyone involved in healthcare, which is just absurd.
Right.
You can't go to a cardiologist for brain surgery.
No, you can't.
You know, and so these terms have definitions. They have definitions that are widely accepted, and there's no question that we're going to redefine the way medicine is practiced. All we're trying to do is ensure that doctors have the freedom to practice medicine in the way that is best for their patients.
You know, do you think sometimes people take words and try to cause it to mean what they want it to mean? You know how, I'll tell anybody, you know, now, you're reading this, it says, catch the rays. Don't make that anything other than catch the rays. Sometimes we see the words, that's just the title of my book. I mean, that's, I think sometimes people, when you may know deep in your heart of hearts that this may not be right, but you will try to get those words to make it feel as if, okay, it's the word and that's not right. It's just the wording. You understand what I'm trying to say? That we don't want to accept the fact that you know that we shouldn't do this, but I'm going to ride along just in case. I hate that.
Yes, I do too.
I hate it with a passion.
It really is one of those things where we spent so much time ensuring that we used words that were accessible, honest, and clear, and the Florida Supreme Court agreed with us that the words were all of those things. And so it's frustrating to have so many dishonest ads coming out that are claiming things that are just not true.
And I also want ladies, gentlemen as well, to pay attention to, look who's pushing, who's writing these. The men are the one coming up saying this. I mean, I'm just being real, Sara. They're the ones that's coming out. Okay, we're gonna have to do this. This amendment haven't passed for this. No, this is something I don't think you should have that. There gotta be a cutoff somewhere.
Right.
This is me.
And that's the thing. You know, we're talking about this. It transcends political party. It transcends ideologies. It is not a partisan issue because it affects everyone.
Exactly.
And everyone wants access to the best health care, and everyone wants to be able to make the decisions that are best for themselves without the interference of politicians. And that is true no matter who you are.
Most certainly. I don't care who you are. I understand totally. And I'm going to say this, and I want to have this conversation more, but I want to have a two-part conversation. I really want this to come back, but I want to hear the other side so we can sit here. Maybe that conversation will change their minds. Or we go deep with it, you know, to tell the truth. And but I would like to have, and I would love to have a lady that would be willing to come on the show, that will be willing to come on and sit and talk with me, to talk with us about Amendment 4. So if you're listening, if you're viewing, talk to me. Call me, I'll reschedule a show so we can talk more about Amendment 4 so we can get both sides. I want that to be known, that we try to get that. And but sometimes things happen. It just didn't work out. But the fact of it is, that's giving us more opportunity to touch every area that needs to be touched so that people will understand the importance. Because, like we said, the election is really a few weeks away, and we can't sit around and play and pretend and think that you know when you don't know. Right, Sarah?
Absolutely.
I mean, and I cannot thank you enough for being there, for reaching out to say and to tell it. As they would say on the street, tell it like it is. And you are doing just that. For all the work that you do, we here appreciate you for standing up to do the right thing. And because, ladies, we need that. Not only that, men, we need it as well. My heart still goes out because I can still hear that tone in that gentleman's voice that called us at first. I could hear it in his voice, that what he was feeling and how he's so strongly against what happened to his child. And thank God for Jesus, she's okay. Thank God that she's okay. But for you, ladies and gentlemen, you keep this in mind. We are in that season, and we are only a few weeks out. Your voice, I often hear people talking to me, oh, my vote is not going to make a difference. Yes, it will. If you want to speak the loudest, if you want to help make a decision, the way you do that is by casting your vote. That is your right to vote. Nobody can tell you which way to do it. So please do not allow the opportunity to do the right thing right here that's going to be beneficial for all of us. I can't believe our time is up. We've got to get out of here. It's been a fantastic day. I cannot thank Sara enough. Now, remember, you can get in touch with the ACLU. Go to the website, find out all the information that's needed. I've got to go, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a fantastic day as always, but I'm going to leave you as I do. Never, ever, ever lose your focus. Always remember, if you keep God first in everything you do, I guarantee you're going to be a total success. So until tomorrow at 9 o'clock for another day of nothing but sunshine and information, know that I love you with a perfect kind of love. Keep shining while I'm gone. Thank you, Sara.
Thank you, Sara.
Sunshine's Corner, being brought to you by Quint and Richie Studer.